What's going on, people? I would like to welcome all of you to another Q-on-1 edition of the Talk to Q radio show. My name is Quincy, and this is my show. And with the Q-on-1s, what I like to do is interview people to expose my audience to new things. I talk to authors, entrepreneurs, entertainers, counselors, other podcasters, and sometimes just your everyday person who just has something to say about a particular topic. So it's an opportunity for you to get to know these people up and close and learn their story. What sparked the passion to choose a certain career? Or what inspired them to write that book? Or why is this person so opinionated about a particular topic? So just sit back and enjoy the show, and please be encouraged to share. A lot of my guests, much like myself, kind of do their thing by word of mouth. So the more that you share, like, or comment on a social media post, then the more you can help me grow the show. And it also gives more support to the people that I bring on the show who are looking to get their services, products, and talents out to the masses. So without further ado, let's get to the interview. What's going on, people? All right, so on the sports podcast, the Very Unsportsmanlike podcast, there was a discussion recently about possible discrimination in some high school athletics, mainly football in the state of Mississippi, when it came to the officiating crews. Now, on this show, a couple of months ago, I had an all-female, all-black officiating crew on, and they were the first of their kind to, have an all-female crew officiate over a high school game here in the state of Mississippi. And so I'm bringing one of those ladies back on, and we're going to discuss some of the rumblings that I've heard about the possible discrimination that's going on. So without further ado, let me bring her on and welcome back Miss Adrienne Barnes to this Q-on-1 at the Talk to Q radio show. Adrienne, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, and thanks for taking the time. And so I guess if I can just let you try to catch us up on what's been going on, because as far as what I've heard, there's been some people kind of picking and choosing who are actually officiating these games based on maybe who their friends are or who they want, as opposed to the people who actually deserve it. Can you kind of fill us in?
Right. Yes, so it's always been customary for the championship game with the assigners sending in their recommendations for the crews. And then the high school association chooses the crew from the list that they send in. However, this year, for some reason, and let me just go on record as saying we're probably the largest association in the state of Middle Mississippi. This year, the high school association completely disregarded the selection made by Curtis Lowe, went with someone who, as Curtis has stated himself, is not even in his top 5 of selections that would have gone to the high school association. We met with the high school association on Monday. The first meeting was with Greg Freeman, who is the director of officials. Ricky Neese was, according to the secretary, too busy to meet with us at the 9 o'clock meeting. During that meeting, we asked what was the reasoning for them disregarding this assigner's selections. And the only thing he could tell us was, one, we asked him if he even knew the crew that he selected. He said he hadn't seen them, but Ricky Neese had, and he felt like they were a pretty good crew. Then he stated that because this official was retiring this year, even though he's had 6 state championships already, that they felt like that was something good for them to do. Even though he had also told us that they like to spread it around because it's not that many championship games. So how are you spreading it around when you're giving it to someone who's had 6 championships already? Plus the Mississippi, Alabama All-Star games, I don't know. Some of the members of the actual crew that was slighted were there as well. The question was asked if they had done that to any other association that has had representation in the state championship this year. And initially, Greg Freeman tried to say they did, but when we went to further discussion on it, it was that he did not. So he disregarded their first 2 selections, but this particular association actually sent in 3, and he went with their third. So there is no other association in the state where he completely, or anyone has ever completely disregarded the selections of the assigning secretaries, because they're the ones who are on the ground. And one thing that we do in Middle Mississippi is we have evaluations for every game. There's a team of Division 1 football referees that Curtis has assembled, that they go around along with Curtis himself, and they evaluate these crews on a weekly basis. So we, feel like that was just a complete slight, complete disrespect, because who knows these crews best would be the person who's actually assigning the crews each week, and firsthand knowledge of what they're doing, versus someone deciding, well, maybe, let me put my buddy in there because he's going out. Let me send him out with a bang.
So let me ask you this, just for people who may not be 100% into some of the background of sports. Officials are rated. Are you rated as at your positions? Are you rated as a crew? How do they keep up with who's a good official and who's not?
Oh, so yes, they rate us as a crew and they rate us individually. So they have the evaluators going around in particular positions, and they score you based on your position and your performance. So at the end of the season, he has a grading system for each official. For instance, yes, I did referee 3 games this year, but my natural position, my first position, is linesman. So I've been rated at both of those positions this year. And of course, as the referee, I wouldn't be considered, as a new referee, I wouldn't be considered at the top of the list. And I'm not offended by that. We have people who've been in here over 20, 30 years, that are still, that train me. But at the lineman position, I've been doing that the entire time. And we're ranked based on, our performance in the game, our hustle in the game, rules knowledge, mechanics, and game management skills. So that's where the rating scale comes from. And these are Division 1 college referees that are coming in and doing this to give back. We have several in the state of Mississippi and in our area, and they come back and work with us at camps, at clinics. They come to our meetings, and we have breakout sessions just for our positions. It's a lot of training that's involved in Middle Mississippi for football. We also have a weekly meeting with our assigner as referees, the head refs. So, the crew that was selected, the head ref only attended 2 of those meetings. So I think he knew he was retiring and he checked out. So it's just not fair that someone who's at meetings every week, someone who's worked with over 85% of the officials that are in our association right now, is slighted because your buddy is retiring.
Okay, so all of this went down. They had the championship games were last week, correct?
No, they're this week. Their
This week, okay.
championship games are actually this week, Friday and Saturday. We had the first meeting, like I said, at 9 o'clock Monday. They called Curtis, and a couple of other guys went with him back down on Monday evening, and we got the understanding that we got the feeling that they were not going to budge. And
Yeah.
then on Tuesday, we find out that he decided, okay, well, he took the crew out, his friends, the buddies' crew, out of the game, sent them a text saying that they would still be paid for the game, and then gave the game to another association. Um, there again, what what solution is that? You still have a crew, a very inclusive crew that included actually 2 women from my the all-female squad. 2 of those women were on that crew. You have veteran officials, several of them. And my thing is, how do you know that some of these guys aren't retiring? How do you know that? So just because you're retiring, that justifies you replacing a crew that worked their butt off all year? That's ridiculous.
So what can be the end result of this? I mean, could there be a walkout of some sort?
Well, that's the thing that we're getting together on. That's the plan. We feel like, an immediate impact, so that they can see that we're not going to stand for this. It's ridiculous. These practices that are going on don't make any sense. And when you have an association that's trying to be as professional as possible, trying to be as objective as possible, you how could you slight us in this manner? So one of our first demands was to place the crew that you slided back in the game because they earned it. Not because of a buddy thing. They earned their way into that position. The second thing that we asked for was that they give us in writing an objectively planned set of guidelines for postseason selection so that everyone in each association would know these are the guidelines that the high school association and our different districts would follow in presenting for the high school championship series. And there's complaints in every sport. It's not just football. So everyone is in an uproar about what's going on. So, if we all band together, we're hoping that all of the sports will band together and take action.
Okay,
We
and yeah,
want,
that was
not just walking out, not just that, but it needs to be a change down at the Mississippi High School Association. When you have someone who is that arrogant and disregarding, assigners and their jobs, and had no remorse for what you're doing, they need to go.
mm,
They need to go because if they
and
continue on, there are a lot of people who will not work under those conditions.
yeah, and I was
As
wondering the
independent, we're
impact on.
independent contractors.
I was wondering about the impact on other sports as well, because you have basketball season, high school basketball season, you're ready to start up. And I know that some of you
Hmm.
do multiple sports.
We do.
So
Mhm.
I can definitely understand the impact on that as well. And hopefully something
Mhm.
can be done that will cover everything across the board.
Right.
And so that way people in other sports won't be concerned about it. So as far as going forward, what do you think? What do you think is next at this point?
Next, we're still meeting, having scheduling meetings. We're going to. Apparently, they've decided that they want this high school association wants to meet with the assigners in January. That's too long. We are demanding a meeting with the high school association. We want to meet with the board for that association, and we're including all of our officials, not just a select few, because we're all being affected by this as independent contractors. We all have rights. We all work hard for this. We all invest our time and money and energy into this every day. So we have to stick together on this to get change.
Definitely,
Hmm.
definitely. And I'm a firm believer of things being fair across the
Hmm.
board.
Exactly.
I understand membership has its privileges sometimes, but you
Hmm.
can't slight people when they've worked their tail off
No.
all year
No.
and deny them opportunity. I mean, being able to do a championship game
Hmm.
is what a lot of people strive for. So I
Right.
completely understand. And then on top of that, for those who are maybe interested in going to the college level or the pro level, I mean, this is a great platform to
It
display,
is.
your skills, so to speak.
It is.
So I'm very sorry about this situation and what's occurred, but I do hope that you get the results that you seek and that you get it soon, and you
We're
all can
hoping
have a
so.
sit down and
We're hoping
everything.
so. I mean, like I said, we a couple of the members of that crew actually refereed for junior college here. The community colleges here in the state of Mississippi, and Dominique, one of the females from my crew, she was my back judge. Has been selected and offered a scholarship to attend some D1 conference camps. This would be awesome for her to be able to have on her resume. It would speak volumes for her, especially being the first Black female and as young as she is to be on the state championship team. Why take that away from her? It's devastating to us from the all female crew. We were celebrating, and now here you are. You just completely take the air out of us over this because we were all ready to be out there supporting her. Being on that field as part of our crew.
And yeah, like I said, it wasn't too long ago. You were on here and with your crew, and we were
Excited.
talking about
Yep,
how it was so groundbreaking what you did, and then this is definitely not the way you expected the year to turn
no,
out. So
we did not.
I I definitely
Mhm.
definitely want to wish you the best. You always have my full support, and hopefully, I would like to get some good news that some things have been changed and they can ratify things and put it in writing on how they're going to assign people going forward and or stick
Absolutely.
with assignments
Stick
for
with it. Hmm.
yeah, if someone makes
Absolutely.
a recommendation, go with the person who actually knows the crew and can make the best
Yes.
recommendation.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, look, Adrienne, I appreciate you taking the time to join the show. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we get ready to wrap up?
Um, you know, the thing is, we have to understand, again, we're all independent contractors when we're doing the sports officiating. But you have to understand, if in order to affect change, you have to stand united. So we're asking all across the state, because I know I've had calls from several people in other districts saying that, they have this type of practice, never at this level. They have never done this to an entire crew. But there's always been, especially since Ricky Neves has been the executive director, there has been a lot of this nonsense going on. And so I'm just asking for anyone out there, if you are a sports official with the high school association in any district, please stand with us, because trust me, as sure as you're breathing, it's going to happen to you.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, look, I applaud you for taking a stance and having the courage to do so. And
Absolutely.
if I can get you to stay backstage for me for just a moment, I'll go ahead and get ready to wrap things up. And that's going to do it, people. So I'm glad we were able to get her on and get the story and figure out what's going on. So if there's those of you who are able to support, influence, or whatever it may be to try to get some changes done, then let's do it. And that's going to do it for this show. You can find me online. Just Google hashtag talk to Q, and I'll pretty much show up anywhere. And also be sure to check out the sports podcast, the Very Unsportsmanlike podcast, which can be found on YouTube. You all take care.